Hello and welcome to this fantastic Electronic Cafe Celebrates episode where, as you know very well by now, Mark and I look at albums that are 40 years old. The beauty in this particular one is the fantastic Steve McQueen by the ridiculously talented Prefab Sprout. It was the second studio album by these guys out in 85. In the US, it was released as Two Wheels Good because of the conflict or some pushback from the famous actor Steve McQueen's estate. The album does cover references of McQueen's lifelong passion for Triumph motorbikes and obviously his incredible 1963 film The Great Escape. Look, the album was released to highly positive reviews from critics. You know, was again, it's like one of those albums you look back and think that's got to be in the top 5, right? No, it reached 21. I mean, come on, it deserved to be so much higher than that. There were 4 singles that entered into the top 100. There was a singles chart. There was When Love Breaks Down reaching the top 30.
As Andy said, there were 4 singles released off the album: Farron Young, Appetite, Johnny Johnny, and the classic When Love Breaks Down, which is hard to believe now. But When Love Breaks Down was released 3 times before it became a hit, and it charted.
Retrospectively, Steve McQueen's received lasting critical acclaim as an absolute masterpiece over time. Widely credited as an indie pop benchmark and ranked by many British publications among the greatest albums of all time. I am not surprised, and if you haven't heard this, you are missing out big time.
The album was indeed knocked into shape and produced and mixed by Thomas Dolby, all except When Love Breaks Down. In short, so the story goes, the song predated Thomas Dolby's involvement with the band, and the song had already been recorded and mixed a few times previously. He did help refine the song for the Steve McQueen album inclusion, but the song, when it did finally chart, only peaked at number 25, which is incredible.
On April the 2nd, 2007, I think it was reissued as a Legacy Edition double CD featuring like a remastered version of the original album and a bonus disc featuring acoustic versions of the songs by the band's frontman, the very talented Paddy McAloon.
McAloon is a wickedly cavalier composer. He's also remarkably adaptable, easily switching gears from the faux country of Farron Young to the pop grace of Moving the River, and at times this could get the better of him. However, it's recognised that what keeps Steve McQueen afloat is the Thomas Dolby's guidance, control and its lush production.
There was a great story about how Thomas Dolby got involved with these guys. I think it was on BBC Radio 1. There was a programme called Roundtable, and musician and obviously producer, the fabulous Thomas Dolby. And if you haven't seen our interview with him, go back and check that out. It's great. But he was a panellist on the programme and he spoke very favourably of Prefab Sprout's Don't Sing, a track from their 1984 album Swoon. And off the back of that, the band got in touch with Thomas Dolby, who met with Paddy in the latter's county Durham home. And basically, Paddy presented Thomas with about, I think it's like 40 or 50 songs, some written as far back as 10 or 12 years ago or prior. And then Dolby picked, I think he picked his favourite tracks and asked Paddy McAloon to make demo recordings of them. And these recordings served as the basis for Dolby's initial process and the playing of the album's recording.
The whole album has a lush, breathy, harmonious, sophisticated feel about it, a type of synth pop with jazzy progressions, and an album pretty much the polar opposite to anything that was around at the time in 1985.
I think in the autumn of 84, they began working on the album's songs in rehearsals, and look, it all came together really well. The album was critically acclaimed. And you know, I think it was Record Mirror gave it 5 out of 5, saying you won't hear a finer album all year, and that Paddy McAloon is by far the country's best songwriter. And at that time, do you know what? I wouldn't argue that. I think this is an absolute gem of an album. If you haven't heard it, in terms of craftsmanship, production, lyrics, content, and just making you feel good about things, despite some of the darker things this album covers, it's an absolute masterpiece. And I can't recommend it highly enough. I know Mark will say exactly the same. We're both very united on this. Steve McQueen by Prefab Sprout, happy anniversary. Can't believe it's 40 years old. Still sounding as good now as it did when I first heard it all those years ago. God, I'm getting old.
Oh my, have you seen the weather? The sweet September rain. Rain on me. until I drown. When love breaks down, the things you do to stop the truth from hurting you. When you were there before my eyes, no one planned it, took it for granted. I count the hours since you slipped away. I count the hours that I lie awake. Every other sentiment an antique, as obsolete as warships in the Baltic. Driving on a straight road, it never alters, and the ranger serenades but doesn't falter. You offer infrared instead of sun. You offer paper spoons and bubble gum, while eyes itching for something new. So watch me Hawkeye, understand the force of will, a slate of hand moving around. I'm turkey hungry, I'm chicken free. Hunger howls, hunger's red, hunger stays till it's fed. Then it somehow fades, then it somehow leaves your side, depending on its appetite, depending on your appetite. So if you take, then put back good. If you steal, be Robin Hood. So tell me, you must have thought